Every adventure starts with character creation in Enshrouded. Welcome in, everybody. I'm gonna create my usual character of Andraste here. Let's go ahead and get some rough-looking ponytailage on the go. Huge thank you to Keen Games. This is like the first time ever I've been trusted with significantly early access. And I hate to say it, they didn't skimp out on the shape of the lady, which is nice, actually. It reminds me of like Wolon Fallen Dynasty. Let's go with that. Of course, this is my second character. I have had a small practice so that I can turn this into at least a little bit of a guide. I'm sure nobody just wants to watch me bumbling around like Bambi, do they? With that done, we can head on into play. On launch, you're of course going to be given the option of the 3 different styles of play. We have online, where we can join the servers, which I assume are all pretty much empty right now. So we'll go ahead and we'll play private. We're going to start a fresh world. So let's call this For the Channel. All right, so I'm going to call my world For the Channel. I've got a couple of practice ones here so I can make sure that I scout things out ahead as we move forward. The intention is that I'm going to play for around an hour. I'll direct you guys where we need to go, and by the end of that hour we should be partially set up. We don't need to be watching this. So we're going to wake up in this little room here. Apologies, my game is not going to look very beautiful because turns out my 1080 Ti is now for its graveyard, and with the 4080 Super coming out in 2 weeks, I'm going to wait to see if we can grab a good deal. In any case, we're going to commune with the flame. For now, this is going to direct us around as we go. We don't need to follow it. We can go and do whatever we want. That is the intention of the game. For now, it is going to direct us. Now, if you notice up in the top left corner, you'll see that my rested status is increasing up there. And that basically gives us better stamina capacity. As you can see, I have the outer ring around that middle ring there, and that's going to drain as we go along. And that outer ring is actually not going to be there anymore when the rested status is running out. So if you guys want to stay there and get a boost, you can feel free to do that, but we don't really need to right now. There's some cool mechanics around it, so feel free to play around with that when it comes to base building. I quite like how that works, actually. This game is like, instead of the punishing side of survival games, like when I played Ark and stuff, this game is more about bonuses rather than punishing you. So pretty cool overall. Right, where's the, should be a torch. All right, so the way equipping something works is you just highlight it on the bottom of the bar. I do not know what the PC controls are. I'm playing on controller. Another good tip here is that you can switch this. So I do recommend having like quick use items here, and then anything else that you kind of just want to use in between, such as food items. Again, looking up in that top left corner, you can see there are 3 slots. That's going to be for food buffs, right? So I like to put my 3 foods just along here like this. And this very end one has a button. So when I press up, it takes me straight to the end. So whichever weapon you want to fight with the most, make sure that's at the left-hand side, and that'll be real easy. And then you want 1 quick item here, and because you can skip to the other end, that's where I usually put my healing. But anyways, as we continue moving forward, we want to come straight down here. We're going to get these explosives, and I really actually like how they've done this little secret here. This is one of a few secrets we're going to find as we go around this little area. I'm going to go ahead, blow a hole in the wall. For an immediate bonus, there's the hatchet. What I was saying before, I'm going to pick that up, we're going to put it in place. We want to keep the torch on. So how about we put the torch there so it's local to what we want, and then we're going to be selecting that. So all good. So now I can switch to my weapon, and I've got my torch in hand. No point in wasting the bomb, getting it back out of there. So down here, we get another secret. So we're going to go ahead, throw a bomb at that. And there are tons of these secrets in this game. Probably don't really need that extra torch. I'll end up dropping that later on anyway. Another really good mechanic is when we interact with the craft bench later on, that just immediately repairs anything in your inventory. Now, torches are a little bit different because they do actually burn out and break, but generally speaking, we shouldn't need to replace tools that often. For the torch as well, just in case we need it. All right. Not too much through here. If you break like these bits of scaffolding though, you will get bits of wood. Now, we are interacting with a new mechanic already. We have Enshrouded. That timer runs out, we are dead. So we need to be pretty quick when we are in these Enshrouded areas. We also can't fast travel whilst we're in them, so we need to be aware of that. And as you can see, defeating enemies gives us XP. The only real game I can compare this to right now is Ark, because that's the only one that I've played for any amount of time. And I'm really not a professional at Ark. I play that like with my kids. So, you know, because it's exciting getting chased by dinosaurs, they love it. So in terms of like from that reference, I quite like this game. It's a shame it's PC only because they would love it on the Xbox. All right, so this is a checkpoint. If we die, we're going to respawn here now. And did we get a shield? Oh, we got a ship, but we didn't. We've arrived outside. The game wants us to set up our base, and we can set it up here if you want. Fast travel is fairly easy in this game. There's lots to find in this little settlement. Like, there's basically lots to find in every settlement. This isn't procedurally generated, I don't think, so it's all pretty much set. Make sure you pick up things like this, which is the lockpick. We can unlock certain things. These little bales here are usually pretty good to break. You can see that we're getting a good variation of resources there, such as cloth, water, and string. It's not essential, but generally speaking, out of the things that you can break, boxes and those little satchels are generally worth it. Because we are still quite early as well, it's very worth it to come over to this little set of archery range here. These will actually respawn every now and then. In fact, because this is a private server, if I log out and log back in, those will respawn immediately, so I can basically get infinite arrows there if I want to. And being as everybody can get water from the well, we're going to draw water, and I'm going to show you how the food bonuses work. With all that collected, let's do some inventory management here. I'm going to move our water into this second row so I can select it when I want to. When I consume this, you can see I get stamina recharge and extra endurance for 10 minutes, which is pretty good. Now, when I use this, you see that it takes up one of the slots, and the slot actually has a symbol. You can only have one of each symbol at a time, so bear that in mind as you are thinking about the buffs. It does change and modify kind of how you want to behave, and there is reason to have multiple characters as well. Can we see this? Yeah, we can see the skill points tree already. Your first character, highly recommend coming up towards the green. This is mainly range damage and most importantly, like stamina management. In particular up here, for example, sprinting speed, stamina consumption reduced by 10%. It's probably the big thing there, as well as obviously we've got the 10% actual speed, but that's where I'm going first because that's just majorly huge. That's going to make it so that we can basically do everything more efficiently. There's nothing stopping us logging into the same world with a different character and having different stats. So at least at the beginning, there's nothing stopping you having a combat tank character and a stamina-based kind of crafting character. You can use both of those on the same world. That's not an issue. Anyways, we're going to continue going around. And you've noticed that I've been looking at these books. If we look on the map, read them, often you'll come onto your map and you'll see that they highlight points of interest for us. So they just help us to kind of navigate the world. As you can see, it's rather massive. Whilst we're here, you're going to want to come a little bit further down from this bit as well. I've already kind of just been around there because I was messing around. So we're going to want to make our way further down, and we should find ourselves, yeah, this little bit of enshroudment here. Take this guy out, that's not a problem. Come up and around to the left. This is where we'll have a few rats to defeat. Here's our first few bits of meat. Nice and easy to get because they don't run off, see? I got you, homie. Up this way, this is kind of where I went before because I just need to double check where we were going. Up this way, there's a bit of loot in here and another scroll that you can read, so just make sure you get all of that. And so now, I think it's a good idea to set a base up here. There are a few options, but I would be taking you blind through the mist, and I think getting set up first is probably a better idea. So it's telling us to set up here, like you can see. We need to have 5 stone to do this. So if you haven't already gotten any out of the boxes that we've been breaking, there are plenty of stones, as you can see on this little plane, and you can see how flat it is and how this has basically been put here so that we can set up a decent sized settlement. This is important because you're probably going to want a fairly big building. It's not necessarily going to be your base forever. You may set something else up later on, but just seems like a good idea. For now, we can only create 2. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to craft this little flame altar. And to place it, all we do, highlight it whilst it's in your hotbar, or whatever you want to call it, X to place. We can commune with it. If we decide we don't want it here anymore, we do have to break it down. We can level it up for some stat increases. This is going to be something that we deal with later on. And at this time, resetting stats only costs us 1 log, which is pretty cool as well. Now, whilst we are here, let's go ahead and look at how we start building. First things first, we want a workbench and a construction hammer. Both of those things are going to be essential. Let's place our little workbench down. I don't know what your controls are going to be on PC, but you can see down at the bottom right-hand side, we have a selection of things we can do. So on control, at the very least, I can hold down my right trigger and turn this around. I'm going to put it right here. We have a construction hammer already. This is actually, this is there. Let's put this in my main bar for now. I'm going to get rid of these because I don't need them. And you can already see that my axe is fully repaired. Just interacting with that, just completely repaired all of my gear. Nice and easy. I really like that feature. It's really good. Get rid of this as well. Don't need that. We now now need an axe and a pickaxe. The main difference between the axe and the pickaxe is axe deals with things that are on the ground. The pickaxe is for in the ground. So like digging, basically, is the way this goes. If I come over to a tree, I can swing this and I'll get plenty of wood. I'm going to grab some basic materials here. Get some more stone. Get myself the pickaxe ready. We need some twigs. Twigs come from plants usually. We don't have a bow yet, and we definitely want to get a bow. We're going to go around some plants as we go here. Something else that I feel like some people might want to know is we are not restricted by weight when it comes to carrying things. We are restricted by slots. At this particular time, running around and picking up everything is 100% fine because we can carry absolutely tons of each material, which again is probably why me and the kids are going to love this game. All right, so we probably have enough. So now I have the pickaxe, so I can at least show you guys. I don't think we need it right now, but over on this hill right here, we actually have some flint, just in case you decide you want to get some early. And this just digs downwards. You can dig anywhere. Like, you are going to need dirt as well. That is actually a material that's going to get used. But, you know, just in case you guys want to see it working, this is what it does. You dig a hole. If you want to be a hobbit, there's really, I guess there's not actually anything stopping you. You could put the thing on top of here, dig into the hill. You could literally be a hobbit right here. If you make a hobbit hole, let me know, because that would be absolutely hilarious to know about. All right, so we've had a bit of a run around. We've collected a few plants and a few bits and bobs. So now what I want to make is a bow, and you can see the bow needs string. Well, guess what? String comes from plant fibers. So we now have the bow, which is good. We definitely need any kind of shield. I'm pretty sure we get to pick one up though that's real early on. Mostly because we want to be able to parry. Parrying is a big thing in combat in this game. We also need twigs. Arrows, that's fine. We have a few standard ones. Bones are what we create wands with, which is like a medium ranged attack. Classed as something a little bit different. We need more string though. Let's get this on. I think I already have trousers, but we'll take shoes. Equipping is as easy as you might imagine to equip. Runes are like an upgrade currency, so you are going to want to save those if you do happen to pick any up. Metal again is going to be a little bit later. I don't need old books, that's fine. But now, the main thing that we want next is at least one chest. Now, there is going to be a special type of chest later on that I think most people are going to prefer to use. So we don't want to build too many for now. We just want to build stuff to keep stuff in. So let's have a look here. We can't build them here. I think we have to do it on the workbench. You'll notice that if you go on the workbench, you can build different things in particular storage. And we need twigs. I'm going to go out and get some more plants. I'll be right back. All right, so I went on a little bit of a collection run. I should now be able to build myself a standard chest. This is just going to allow me to not have to carry absolutely everything with me, as we do lose items on death in this game. Now, I do recommend generally having two, but I'm just going to go with one for the sake of this video. That's because I like to have a chest that is always next to this, has like the editing tools. So the construction hammer that we built, this is how we build things in our little zone. Just so that I can show this, I press left trigger and enter into building mode. This kind of confusing looking bunch of stuff all appears. And you see I can't really build anything right now because this game builds in blocks. So what we have to actually do is we come onto this crafting bench here. And if I want to craft in, let's say, wood, I need to turn some of my logs into wood blocks. And these blocks don't go as far as you might think they do. Like if I highlight one, I can actually build like in the blocks. Right, so if I want to build just like a wall, this, when we enter into the like full-on building mode, we get to build some of the like more prefabricated shapes, which is rather handy. We can obviously kind of bring up a big menu here so that we can get onto the different rungs. We have like the different sizes and this kind of thing. So let's bring up foundations here. I like this to be outside. As you saw with the rested stats, the nicer the base that you build, the more bonuses you're going to get from doing it. So realistically speaking, the bigger this little kind of building is going to be, which doesn't make sense, I'm aware, as far as wording goes, the better it's going to be, because not only do you need shelter, we also are going to have NPCs we need to shelter, and there are going to be 5 in total. Think about this for a second. You could have 5 little separate buildings, and you can make a nice looking village, but if you're the kind of person that wants to get all of the bonuses, you want to have all 4 of them in the same building. You're then going to have all of your stuff that gives you your well-rested bonuses whilst you're in here, and whilst you're interacting with your NPCs, you will then be getting your rested bonus. So that's probably the better way to start out your buildings. That's how I imagine most people are going to do it, because I think it's 32 people a server, or maybe 16. So you'll all have like your own buildings and then put all of them in that one, and that's how everyone's going to get the best rested bonuses. Either way, I'm going to sort my inventory out a little bit. One thing with the bow, if I press equip on this, I now don't need it in my hotbar. I can put this up here, actually. When I press my left trigger, I can now just put it out, even though the bow is not in my hotbar. So it can actually save space by doing that. Something else that is worth doing is getting yourself some wood logs and stone and building yourself a fireplace. This doesn't even need fueling. So let's get this put down, as this is going to allow us to cook food. Okay. So if I put food can be cooked into my hotbar, and it does need to be in the hotbar, you can actually change the properties. So we've got some options here. Think about. I like carrying water. It's common, and the endurance stuff is a pretty good bonus. And there's something to be said about the berries here, because if I eat one of these, right, you can see that only lasts 30 seconds, and it's 2 health regeneration. So that's actually a 30-second healing item, which is pretty good actually, especially early on. But it does take up one of your food slots. So you need to decide whether you want all 3 of these buffs, and then kind of going to be struggling for healing because you'll have to find bandages, or if you want to use the berries, which you can literally pick up from anywhere, and use those for healing. We can craft bandages. I don't think they're particularly difficult. I think they just need like string and torn cloth. We don't really exactly have tons right now, so I would probably recommend that we leave that for just for now. That brings us on to cooking anyways. Sorry about getting sidetracked there. So we're going to go ahead, sit down and cook. And we just hold the meat there. And we just need to watch it until it changes color. I'm afraid there's no queuing up of this. And I don't know if you can burn it. I haven't tried. I've just always let go as soon as it gets cooked. And being as it has turned nighttime, I'm going to spend the evening building up my building here. Not because it's like incredibly dangerous, but it's not that easy to see. And if I try and give you guys pointers on where to go, it's not going to be the simplest. So probably about 20-30 minutes, I'm going to just kind of put a roof and some walls on this. Shouldn't really be too difficult. The roofing does need plants though, so just bear that in mind. You will need some plant fiber for that. But anyway, let's go ahead and see where we end up. All right then, morning has arrived and I got a decent amount of the way through. We actually have enough materials probably to finish it off, but I did say I wouldn't spend any longer on it than just the evening. Pretty much pillaged all of the plants from around my base because I needed the string, because you need the plant fiber for the roof, which is why the roof is unfinished. So we'll pillage that as we are going. I believe we should be, yeah. Leave the elixir well for now. We want to get upgrades before we go there. And to get the upgrades, we want to get the blacksmith. So we're going to do that first. To do that, we head on over to the north. Now, there's going to be a broken bridge, and I believe we can repair this later on. There's a quest that I have to do on my scout character with regards to that. But for now, just stick to the right-hand side of it, and we'll have a little path that we can take. There's all sorts of loot down here. I don't know how much of this route you guys would want me to keep in, so I'll keep it fairly complete as we go down. Healing potions. Yes, very nice, very nice. My buffs are all gone, and I didn't even rest before we left. You're going to see that it's not like the end of the world if we don't do it. It's just a very nice bonus, especially once we get it to higher comfort levels in the big building, and we can set off of like 20 minutes worth of it. It can be really, really quite strong as far as buffs go. What's this? This is another torch. I don't need another torch. Break all this up. Grab all of the loot. I think, is there anything we want way down here? This stuff is useful later. It is required to upgrade flame, so you can get a bit of it. It's not essential. A few enemies to fight, it's fine. So a bit of tips on combat then, being as we are now fighting properly. We can't... Oh, can we parry? I guess we can parry. Yeah, so we can parry. As you're attacking, look, you can see the bar is building up, and that puts him into a daze. If you attack from behind, we get backstab bonus. So the combat's like not... It's not the most in-depth combat system, but it is not bad. That ring, he always seems to drop that for me. And we can wear 2. All of this, like, packaging stuff is generally worth breaking for the just direct cloth that we can get out of it. It's the first time I've had a Shroud survival flask drop. This actually restores our Enshrouded time. It's not necessary on this particular trip through. If you just want to use that, you certainly can. It's not going to be an issue. We're just going to follow the path. You'll find that a lot of the time, the roads do lead you directly to where we're supposed to be going. And something the game doesn't directly tell you is that it actually costs less stamina to run on the road than it does to run off of the road. And I'll show you where it tells you that in a second, because it doesn't actually come up in a tooltip anywhere. Let's get out of the Enshrouded bit first. Where are we? Should be a little climbable bit to be. Just make sure when you're going around, you look out for these little grills. These often hide little secrets in some of the areas. So the reason that I know that that happens is because stamina consumption for sprinting on dirt roads is reduced from 90% to 80%. So if we sprint on a normal dirt road, it's 90%. And if it's on a stone road, when we eventually find those, it's 75%. And that's the only reason I found that out. I was looking at the skills. Right, so I need plants anyway. So I'm gonna pick a few of these up, and it means we're gonna be facing off against a lot of these soon anyway. We're gonna come over to these stairs, and there should be a new enemy that we haven't seen yet, which is this ranged character here. This is kind of like a faction, and these guys often drop the metal scraps that we need to build a lot of stuff. These don't stagger very easily, and they don't seem to get the backstab damage very easily either. So out of all of them, these ones that seem less mechanic heavy and just more about beating them down. See if this is where I thought I was gonna get my shield from. Metal scraps. Don't get caught by those. I know they look like they're closed. I think this is maybe like an early access problem. If you go near those, they're going to trap you. So obviously don't go near those. You can disarm them, but there's no benefit for us to be spending loads of time around them. And now we need to follow the path again so that we can reach another building. Where are you? Here. There should be quite a few enemies here, so be a little bit careful. It's trying to teach us about stealth, but there's no backstabbing, so it's not really all that useful. This guy isn't even patrolling, like you can see. So nice try, and hopefully it's something that gets improved later on. Man, this is going to hurt. So the best way to deal with these guys is to parry them, but I don't have a shield. Well, now there's two. So these are like one of the more dangerous enemies in my experience. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to switch to my wand that we built earlier. This is the cheese weapon. I prefer to use the torch against the bugs when they spawn. Metal scraps for me. Almost where we can build a shield anyway, which is at least useful. Metal shield anyway. I can't stand the idea of using a wooden shield. There is loot in here. Oops. Excuse me. Can you let me up? I actually know there's a secret in this building as well. Ooh. I love how well they've just hidden loot. It's literally like Zelda levels of, if you just have a look around, sometimes you just see things and you're like, oh, what's that? The entire world of, oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? Very good job, in my opinion. So head on inside. Hello, you. And cheese you as well. I love that I can backstab with the wand. I never even thought about that before. It makes me happy. Alright, I got a secret for y'all. Right here. Need a lockpick. Didn't we have one? Man, 2 metal scraps for a lockpick. Well, it's worth it. Oh, it's just about hatchet. I guess that re-rolls. I got an orange out of that on my first time through, and I was like, oh my god. That's good. Anyway, blacksmith. Whoop, whoop. A decision needs to be made at this point, and that is whether or not you want to plant a fast travel point. Remember earlier? I said we can have 2 bases, and if you look on your map right now, we can just fast travel straight back to the base. However, that tower right there, it's going to be, I don't want to say the next objective, but it is pretty soon. What I'm going to suggest is, and it might be a little bit high level when I think about it, but I'm going to try it anyway. That we break our way through here. It's a little bit, this is going to be a little bit weird because I don't think we're supposed to do it in this order, but we're going to. Right, we can come up to this, and it kind of wants us to grapple up there. That's a tool that we don't have yet, but you can break through this wood. You might be slightly high level, sir, but it's not going to help you because we're cheesing you anyway. Yeah, it's not even difficult. So this is definitely worth it. Especially as we can break these battlements for extra metal scraps as well. Now, you need to be just slightly careful coming out of here because the archer guy is probably going to try and one-shot me. I don't think he'll actually one-shot me, but he will hurt. He's just up there. I can't believe I've not had one shield drop yet. But the good thing is he doesn't chase you, and once you kind of get over that side, he can't actually hit you very well. It's kind of easy. Just skip on through. And now it's basically clear sailing to the top of the hill. So we're just going to follow this path here to get to the top. This is just going to give us a shortcut later on, is all we're doing. You'd have to come across here anyway, but I'm just thinking in my head, like, we're going to have to go about here-ish. No, not there, probably like here-ish anyway. So we're going to have to travel from there and through some of the mist down to there. But now we don't need to retrace our steps up this way. Yeah. I think that's good. I think that's a good idea. As you continue coming up the hill following the path, you'll come to the tower. The video cut out on me for some reason. Luckily, most of the recording has been saved. I crafted myself a brand new flame altar, placed it just over to the side so you can see on the map here. Let me just make this real clear. We are, is that the tower? Yes, the tower. Look, we're slightly to the north of it. Just gone around a little bit, and that's all good. You can feel free to like explore and everything as per usual. Tons of stuff to do everywhere. There's just stuff everywhere. In fact, think, is that the tomb? I think that's a tomb, yeah. If you go in there, you can actually get bone blocks to build with, which is kind of cool. I made a crypty looking death house for my alchemist that we're going to get later on in my practice run. But anyways, now that we have that, we can just fast travel back to the home, and we now have a new thing that we need to craft. Has it told us yet? Where is it? We need the summoning staff. It's in the normal crafting. Costs a twig. Wasn't even worth it. And then when we press left trigger, we'll have the blacksmith. We can place him wherever we want. So I'm going to put mine in here. He actually wants to have a house before he starts giving us all of his quests. So I need to go ahead and finish the roof. So let's get that done. My little building is starting to take shape now. Should have enough space in here for the 5 NPCs, hopefully. I'll probably put, what, 3 along the side. I'll move this later on. 1 on each of these corners. Should be okay. And now is going to be a good time to speak to the blacksmith then. So he's going to talk to us about the cleansing fire, burst gear, well rested, bonuses, and all this other stuff we've kind of already fixed. We can build a few nails, but we've got a little bit of metal scraps available. So let's build some nails, because we can't build a big shield, but we can build a new sword, being as we don't have anything remotely aggressive right now. You can take your pick as to whether you want to be doing cutting damage or blunt damage. Depends on what you're fighting. Not too much cares about blunt right now. So I think I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna make a scrappy sword. I just need to make some space in my inventory. I think I don't need. I can store some stuff. And it's going to be a good idea for us to get enough animal fur, torn cloth, and string to get a full set of the fur armor. This actually doesn't carry any bonuses to us right now. We actually need to get this guy leveled up. Eventually, when we have all of the different NPCs, the armor sets actually give us bonuses. The armor set, he gives us like a heavier one later on. Gives us like health regeneration, all sorts of stuff. So, but for now, because we are going to be heading into some slightly more dangerous areas, we do want to get that complete. So let's just take a list of what we need here. I'm pretty sure it's mostly just fur stuff though. That's what we've got. It's just, yeah, fur and torn cloth. So we need a few metal scraps. So around 10 of each: string, fur, and cloth. So I'm going to see if we've got that now. So with hardly any trying, we should already have enough, realistically. As long as you've been like targeting animals and stuff you've been going around, it should not be that much of an issue. You can see along the top here, we need to move along. If you just come down to fur armor set and press the button and keep on pressing, you're just going to get loads of hats. So make sure you come across. I don't have any space. That's fine. So that we don't mix up and fail to make all of the loot that we need. I'm going to get all of this on. We don't seem to drop our equipped gear on death so far for me, so it's pretty safe to get rid of the old scrappy stuff anyway. Now we are rocking full fur, which is much better than we were on. We have scrappy sword, which is good. We just need shield. And so I am going to bite the bullet. I'm going to make a wooden one. I was pretty sure we'd get a battered metal one somewhere, but I guess wasn't a guaranteed pickup. So let's get that equipped as well. And now we can parry properly as we go on our adventures. That is going to conclude this video. That has been an hour's worth of recording. It'll probably be shorter for you guys as I'm going to edit through it, obviously. Let me know what you think of the game so far. We've gone through some basics, and I'll catch you all again very soon.